Randy came over and we were watching some of Jerry's videos. Did you like his videos?
Oh yeah.
I liked his videos, but the language is a little rough. And down here in the South, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little. Down here in the South, we don't allow that kind of talk. And our mamas would wash her mouth out with soap, so we thought it would be a good idea to let Jerry's mama take a liking to him. You got that box addressed?
Yeah.
He's got the box. All right. We addressed it to Jerry's mama in Canada, and I got some lava soap. We're gonna send it up to Jerry's mama and see if she can wash out his mouth so he'll quit talking so dirty. Okay, go ahead and go mail that. We're gonna go send it to Jerry's mama. You think it'll get to her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and send that on. Jerry, I'm just kidding, man. I want to thank you for having such interesting videos, but also your technical expertise is greatly appreciated. So we thank you for that.
You may want to put that that weird zip code. That
what's that zip code for Canada?
Yeah, BR 549 or something.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know, BMF and 812 or something, I don't know.
Yeah, all right, so we're going to send it off. All right, today is a good day. It's pretty warm out here. It's about 60 degrees. We're going to primer the other side and the front grill, and that'll mean that my tub and everything about it is in primer. And then all we like is getting our doors and our tailgate prepped and primered. Then we'll be doing some more wet sanding and blocking down, make sure the body's straight, and then we'll be putting some paint on this baby. So that's what we're going to do, is we're going to prime that other side with our new 2K Nason Select Prime and see how it comes out. All right, Randy's here to inspect. Yeah. So you think it looks okay? You think I can go ahead and primer?
About time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, dude, I knocked this out yesterday.
Burning daylight.
Yeah, look at this.
Chop, chop.
Ready to prime, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got another brain storm. Randy said we'll just clear coat it now.
I like the Battleship Gray.
We'll just clear coat it, be done.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be smooth. Yeah, that's a big shit. Okay, so I mixed up a quart of this primer, and the hardest thing is that I've got so much material left because it doesn't have a lot of overspray that I'm letting it flash off so I can put a couple more coats on it. Otherwise, I just have to throw it away, which is a nice thing. Although I think when you're doing primering like this, you need to mix it up in half quarts rather than quarts, because, man, 1 quart goes a long way with this primer. I'm telling you, that's thick. Okay, so we got the trucking primer. Just a couple thoughts on that. Wanted to talk about spray guns for just a minute. This is one of the cheapest guns you can get. I've had it from Harbor Freight for about 20 years maybe. Yeah, about 20 years I'd say. When you're done with your gun, go ahead and disassemble it. When you spray material through it, and clean it out. Take the needle out. Don't just spray some lacquer thinner through it and think it'll be okay. And the reason I say that is from personal experience. I don't know how many times I've been spraying like a clear coat on a final thing back years ago when I was doing cars, and blap, some little piece of primer goes into your clear coat, or some weird color that's been sitting in your gun forever. You can also use paint remover if you've got paint that's built up in there if you haven't cleaned it well in the past. But let me just tell you, a clean gun is a happy gun, and it really does make a difference on your paint job. Alright, so let's take a look at the Jeep, where we're at this point. And I mean, that is some thick primer. I went ahead and reprimed this fender that had all the bodywork on it. It looks awesome. Now, because this primer is so thick right now on there, I'm going to give it a couple days to cure out, to shrink up like it's supposed to, before we try to do anything to it, wet sanding or anything. The hood's been sitting there for a couple of days, so later today, after I get back from work on my real job, we can start wet sanding the hood, finish black sanding here, do the cowl. You know, all this stuff that we've been working on, we can start finishing up the block sanding and the guide coating and getting the body prepped for paint itself. All of this is going up to 1 day, 2 hours, or 3 hours of putting color on this thing. Now, if you look at this tree, and here's an oak tree over here. If you look at that tree, I'm very concerned about crap just blowing into the truck. So we're going to use some pop-up tents with some drop cloths on them when we actually do the painting. Randy and I were talking about that earlier on putting up 2 10 by 10 or a couple 12 by 12s, those pop-up things, and then just draping some drop cloths on it to keep that stuff from falling into it, because the last thing I want to do after all this work is to get crap in the truck. Now, it would be ideal if I had a spray booth and a, you know, downdraft spray booth and all that stuff, but I don't. I'm a redneck. We're doing it out in their driveway. So what we're going to do is cover it up, put a couple drop cloths out, use some high velocity box fans from Walmart. And we're going to set up our own little temporary paint booth out here in the driveway for the day of shooting. But we got a lot of prep work to do between now and then, but I am really happy of where the tub is right now. Doors got to be prepped, tailgate's got to be finished prepped, but we are 90% there of getting this thing ready to shoot some color on it, which makes me very happy, and I'm sure will make my wife happy so she can drive it. And I'll pick it up later after I pick up a bunch of my crap when we're actually doing some like wet sanding and prep. Okay, so I've got my dry guide coat on the hood and it's sanded out really nice. And I've got some 600 grit because we're down to close to the final sanding on this. We're talking about this center section here. And I'll do the rest of it later, but I wanted to concentrate on the middle part because it was pretty dinged up. That's where I put the dent in it. How special. So we're going to wet sand down this and see how close we are to being done with the center of the hood. And that's it. Okay, so that is now I'm just talking about the center section, but you can see that there's no more black. There's no little pits of black where there's little crevices or anything. And that, my friends, is ready to shoot paint on. So now I just need to continue on doing the rest of it. I sanded this down. That last sandpaper I used was 600 grit, so it is really super smooth. And compared to this, I can see how rough this is, but most of it is because that primer laid down so smooth that I was able to see imperfections in it before I used a guide coat. So I'm real happy with that. Just do the sides now, and then the hood will be ready to go on. Okay, so I got the hood sanded down to a mirror finish. Use the dry guide coat. I know that there's no... Is my head cut off?
No.
Okay.
Like a chicken.
Huh?
Like a chicken.
I know that there's no imperfections because we used the dry guide coat and I sanded it smooth from there, so it's 600 grit. It's ready to paint in the center of the hood. I just have to do the rest. I'm not going to torture you by having to watch every piece that I sand. I'll just give you updates on that. And hopefully within the next day or two, I'll be ready to start looking at getting it prepped for the painting. And Randy and I are going to set up our Redneck paint booth out here in the driveway. Right?
Right.
Right. Okay, good. So we're going to do that. And I'm hoping by next week we'll have some paint put on this baby right here. Got to start prepping the doors. I'll go through the a little bit of that, but there's not much to do in that. Just like the tailgate, taking the hardware off, sanding it down. There's a couple little dings. Piece of cake. We'll be ready to paint. David from Redneck Garage. Lord, I'm still sanding.